Hello, South Carolina FFA. My name is Hunter Morton, and I am excited to share this time with you today. I served as South Carolina State Secretary for the 2014-2015 term, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you today.
Hello, South Carolina FFA family and friends. I'm Katie Morton. I served as the South Carolina State FFA President back in 2015-2016. We're super happy to be here. And fun fact, Hunter and I are actually from the same FFA chapter.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about how we can be keepers of the land.
That's right, and we aren't just going to be talking about how we can take care of the soil and plants and animals. We're going to be talking about how we can take care of the people around us, fellow FFA members, and how we can tend to them ethically. And
second, we'll discuss what it means to have privilege, how it relates to our FFA journeys. Before we get started, though, let's check out a quick video from the Clarksville FFA chapter in Arkansas that practices being good keepers of the land.
Clarksville is a town of about 9,000 people, and at this school we have 40% of our students speak a language other than English. And so I know in the school district there are over 26 different countries represented, and there's 12 different languages spoken this year.
There's so many cultures at Clarksville High School: Korean, Spanish, Burma, Port Korean, and more. My family come to America because my sister and me to have a better education, and all the family come here because affordable house and great job.
There are many Hispanics here in Clarksville, Arkansas, specifically from Guadalajara, Jalisco, San Luis Potosí, and Zacatecas, and they all seek the same goal, which is for a better life for their children specifically, and better work.
I make an effort to try to greet them every day in their native language. Every morning, the students that speak either Burmese or Korean or Spanish or English, I try to greet everyone in their native language. And when the kids see me trying, then they try harder.
I got involved in FFA because there was a club fair at school, and Miss Anderson, our art teacher, she had her former students there each tell us a specific fact or something they did throughout FFA throughout their school years. And they mentioned about leadership and agriculture and animals. The older Hispanics passed down the FFA memories that they had, and I introduced my friends as well as the Thai and the Korean kids, introduced them through the agri classes into FFA. My favorite thing about FFA is state convention and meeting other people, as well as getting out of classroom and being hands-on with our local stream team, cleaning out and seeing what's inside the water.
FFA helped me to build my relationship with all the culture because they are nice. Also, I told them about my culture, and they told me about their culture, so we'll be close friends, and sometimes we hang out together.
We're all passionate about agriculture and being hands-on throughout our FFA class, and no matter what, we all come together regardless of culture, ethnicity.
We try not to categorize it by race too much. It's more just like learning new things from new people. To me, FFA is about food, it's about fiber, it's about shelter, it's about learning how to be a leader in your community. And so all of these kids, no matter where they're from and no matter where they're going, those things are always going to be a staple in their life. So it's something that can apply to everyone. And I feel that here at Clarksville, we try very hard to introduce everyone to FFA. I may not have everyone on the show team. I may not have everyone on the parliamentary procedures team, but everybody here is going to get exposed to all of those things, and it's going to make everyone a lot more well-rounded.
Honestly, the diversity at Clarksville High School is astounding. But really what's so amazing is how their teacher and students come together to have such a successful agricultural education program. Let's get started by talking about stereotypes. And for those of you who don't know exactly what a good definition of a stereotype is, here's one on your screen. It is a widely held but fixed and oversimplified image or idea of a particular type of person or thing. So basically, stereotypes are an opinion that is made about a person or a group of people that is not necessarily right. So unfortunately, we have probably been stereotyped before, whether that be through social media, to our faces, or maybe just through word of mouth about a group of people that we are included in. Also, regrettably, we probably have placed some stereotypes on some people ourselves. Right now, we're going to have the opportunity to reflect on some of these stereotypes that have been made about us. We will go ahead and just grab a piece of paper and pen if you need to pause and do that right now. And we're going to write down these stereotypes, but we're going to write them in a specific statement. This is a statement that we will be using. I am blank, but I am not blank. So the first blank is going to be a descriptive word that truly defines you. But the second blank is going to be a word that maybe has been stereotyped about that descriptive word of you, but is not necessarily true. That may sound confusing, so let me give you an example. I am a female, but I am not weak. This is a stereotype that I feel has been made about me because I am indeed a female. However, I do not consider myself weak, and I believe that some people stereotype females as weak, whether that be physically weak, emotionally weak, or mentally weak. And I know in my heart that I am all physically strong, mentally strong, and emotionally strong. So this is a stereotype that makes me feel undermined. But writing down this statement really just helped me realize this stereotype that was made about me and how I can overcome it. Another stereotype that could be used to define me is I am a farmer's daughter, but I am not a redneck. I feel like most farm kids are sometimes classified as rednecks, which I do not feel defines me at all. However, it is true that I am a farm kid. Hunter, would you go ahead and explain some of your stereotype statements before we let them get to work on their own?
Yeah, so coming through my FFA program and really all my life, one of the stereotypes I always found and always heard was that I was an Oreo or white. So one of mine is I am an outdoorsman, but I'm not white. And growing up, like I said, being outside, a lot of my hobbies and activities revolved around majority white activities and interests. And so kind of in that wanting to fit in, I didn't voice my displeasure, voice my hurt when my friends called me white or called me an Oreo because I was black on the outside and white on the inside. And while many African Americans may not voice their displeasure for being afraid of not being accepted into the group or being exiled just because they have a different view of their friends, we may not think about it, but it's not the best way to voice how we feel about our friends that are interested in the same activities we are that may be of a different race. Another one that I've also felt and been familiar with is I am black, but I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I think a lot of times in school, we always see some of the African American kids that may not bring their new shoes to school, or students that may bring their new shoes to school, new clothes to school. And we always stereotyped about not wanting to go outside and get in the dirt. And while I'm not going to bring my first day of class attire to go work in the garden, I love getting my hands dirty. I love being in the soil, really feeling what the ground feels like and giving back to the land. So I think that's one of the things that I've thought about as I've gone through my high school days and into college and now. It's just some of those stereotypes that I felt when I was in high school and how it's kind of molded me and kind of how I felt then. And the wish that I would have spoken up my displeasures and how it really made me feel kind of lower in that instant.
Absolutely, and thank you for sharing that, Hunter. It really means a lot. all of these stereotypes, they're just examples of what we have experienced. So I'm going to show you what I drew out in order to do this before you get started on your paper and writing down your own stereotypes. I just made a little chart and numbered them 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm just going to fill in this statement. I'm going to write it in each block and fill in this statement with 4 examples of stereotypes that I have faced using this statement. Please pause and take as long as you need to really think and reflect on some of the stereotypes you have faced, whether those have been said straight to your face or maybe some that you just feel have been made about a group that you may be involved in. And then please feel free to join us back whenever you are done reflecting and writing those down. So just to keep in mind, you will not be sharing these stereotypes with anyone. So be as vulnerable as you would like and as honest with yourself. Collect your thoughts and really think about how some of these stereotypes may have made you feel over the years.
We do hope that you take genuinely time to think about your experiences, write down some of those stereotypes that really hit at your core, those things that made you feel less of yourself and really hurt you to your insides, but you might not have voiced your displeasures then. Look at those, write them down, and just take a few steps further just to kind of really dig deep. Under each stereotype statements you wrote, write a word that explains how that made you feel, and just kind of voice your emotions on your card, and really just like Katie said, be vulnerable in that instant, just so we know, and so how those stereotypes made you feel. That way, going forward, the impact of your words and the impacts of those stereotypes on you and others.
Right, and once you've written down those words, that 1 or 2 words under each of your stereotypes, I want you to look over those words, and they probably aren't positive. They probably hurt you a little bit. They leave a bad taste in your mouth. They make your heart sink. They make your knees weak. But I hope these feelings that you have experienced through these stereotypes being placed on you, I hope that makes you understand the impact that words have on others. And not just the words that people have said to you, but also the words that you produce and say about other people as well.
Yeah, I mean, the power of our thoughts and our words, it's incredible. The lasting impact it can have on others, whether it's just saying good morning to one person can really change someone's day. And I think that's why we really have to dig deep into ourselves and really think about those stereotypes that we put upon others, and think about how the stereotypes that we've been faced with make us feel. And I think that really puts us in other people's shoes to allow us to know how they feel. That way we can think about brightening their day instead of using something that may make them feel worse or less of a person or unwelcome in our group.
Absolutely. And once you have completed your little chart or written down as many stereotypes as you would like, once again, I'd like to challenge you to pause this video, take a minute to take out your phone and open a social media app that you like. I personally love Instagram. So what I would do is I'd take my paper, take a quick picture of one of my stereotypes and post it on my story with hashtag #WeAreSCFFA. You also could do this as a Facebook post, an Instagram post, a Snapchat story, whatever you're most comfortable with. However, if we were super vulnerable and honest with these stereotypes and you don't feel comfortable sharing a picture of your actual writing, feel free to share a selfie or just a blank screen, or maybe your favorite picture of you in official dress with maybe your stereotypes. So I'd post my favorite picture of me in official dress with "I am female, but I am not weak." Hashtag #WeAreSCFFA. So this just shows Hunter and I and all of our FFA family that you were involved in this workshop and that you really are committed to overcoming the stereotypes that we may face, and you're committed to not stereotyping those around us.
And so as we move forward in our next phase of how we learn to be keepers of the land, we will address the current popular topic of privilege. As we watch these next clips of these two Florida FFA members and their SAEs, think about how they are privileged, how one may be more privileged than the other, and just really dig deep into diving into how their journeys are different and how that has led each of them up for success.
Absolutely. So the first SAE that we're going to be looking at is Cole from Florida FFA.
My name is Cole Hansen. I'm currently a graduating senior at Durant High School, the Durant Senior FFA chapter. My hometown is Plant City, Florida, and my SAE consists of lawn care. My career path through the supervised agriculture experience would be plant systems. My SAE consists of lawn care and landscape management. Through this SAE, I've been given multiple opportunities through my family's business. And ever since we just kind of started about maybe the age of 12, I would say, whenever I was kind of old enough to learn how to operate the equipment and take on multiple responsibilities throughout the business, it's been nothing but a blessing, and I appreciate everything that my family's done for me and the opportunities that I've been given through this SAE and my career path beyond it.
Cool. Now the next guy that we're going to take a look at is actually one of Cole's very best friends. They're from the same FFA chapter. Their SAEs are in the same career pathway, but let's take a look at how they may be a little bit different.
I'm Tyler Hewitt. I am representing the Durant Senior FFA chapter. My SAE is turf grass management, and it is under the plant systems career path. A good way to describe my SAE is going into a project, being able to use the existing irrigation system and going in and upgrading it. A lot of what we do is smart irrigation, so we can control a lot of systems using our phone and laptops and be able to control it from anywhere in the world. As of right now, I am the youngest certified expert from Hunter Industries. Hunter Industries is one of the world's leading irrigation component makers. I had about 2 months of training, about 30 hours, 40 hours of online class before I could even go to California to get my certification, which is a 3-day class out there. So some of their daily tasks.
Awesome. So I have the pleasure of knowing both of these awesome FFA members. They're from the Durant FFA chapter down in Florida. They're the best of friends. They have served their FFA chapters together. Like I said, they have the same plant science, plant systems career pathway. However, while we were watching this, we may have thought about some of the different privileges that one might have over the other. And if you think about it, Cole, he said that he actually joined his family's business that had already been started and in place. He just jumped right in as soon as he could start working machinery, and he used that as his SAE throughout his middle and high school years. Whereas his friend Tyler, he had to work super hard to even be certified to start doing his job in the plant and irrigation systems career pathway. So he went through months and months of training. He had to fly out to California for continued training in order to receive that certification. So both Tyler and Cole have worked very hard on their SAEs, but Cole definitely had kind of the forward start since his family is already involved in plant systems, whereas Tyler had to go through a whole lot of training and hard work before he could even get certified to start his SAE.
Yeah, so privilege is a tough word to wrap our head around sometimes. So I kind of want to share a little bit about my story, my background, to give you, the viewers, just a little bit more of an insight to the privilege we want to get to and talk about today. So, like I said, I grew up loving the outdoors, always outside, whether it was hunting, fishing, whatever it was, I was outside doing it. The problem was, where I lived, we only had, at the max, it was an acre of extra land. And so a lot of the activities that I enjoyed, I had to travel to get to, whether it was our hunting club that we went to every now and then, or a friend's property, whatever it may be. And so I always envied others for having land that they could just do whatever they wanted on, whether it was hunting or fishing or riding four-wheelers. And so that's the type of privilege that we may not think about sometimes, that others working towards, let's say, an SAE, they may want to have livestock or a large garden. Some may not have the resources to be able to conduct those type of SAEs. And a lot of times those students may struggle trying to choose a SAE on a larger scale when they're interested in something that may take more resources than they have. But on the flip side of that, I am blessed and I have had the privilege of growing up where I never really wanted for anything. A lot of the things that I needed to be successful, my parents were always there for me. I had a great FFA advisor. And so thinking about that and kind of going forward in my career and where I am today, I know there's other students and other FFA members that may not have had those privileges that I have. And so today we want to talk about how we can use our privileges that we have to help others succeed as we have.
Yeah, and I would love to share a little bit of my story on the completely opposite side of what Hunter was talking about with his not so much privileged 1 acre of land that he wished he could hunt. I was fortunately born into land that has been passed down for generations and generations throughout my family's history. So I grew up on a dairy farm that my grandpa started and my dad continued. So I had an awesome opportunity to learn about true farm life firsthand, get to be the farm kid. Even though I'm not a big hunter nor fisher, we had several ponds on our property. We have great hunting land that I'm sure Hunter is very jealous of. But really, I was born into this awesome privilege of abundance of land and resources because of my family and its history being in the county that I live in. And how we've kind of used that, Hunter, what you were saying is helping others with our privilege. We always allow people to rent out sections of our land to hunt, and we always welcome fishermen as they come to fish our ponds. We can't promise anything will bite, but you can sit there as long as you'd like. And then we also love to mentor students that are interested in agriculture. My mom is a huge advocate for agriculture, mainly via her Facebook. You can check her out. But there have been some students at our local high school that have been interested in agriculture, and she'll take them under her wing and show them around the farm, let them job shadow her for as many days or weeks as they would like, just to get that experience of true farm life if they hadn't had the opportunity to grow up as a farm kid like me.
So we want to talk about just life and our stories in general. In life, we are all handed certain challenges and advantages that some from our own doing and some from nothing we've ever done. More or less, just the situation we were born into. We are hearing a lot about privilege. It seems like every day in the news, with everything happening in the world, the word privilege can be difficult for us to really understand and dive into. But we want to take it and look at it towards an agricultural sense and kind of how we can relate it to ourselves as well in the agricultural field. So think about your SAE, where you started, what you started with, whether that was like Cole, his family business. He kind of jumped right into that and was able to really get going from a jump start. And then also look at the work you've put into your SAE. Just thinking about, whether you've, put in a whole bunch of work because you had to, kind of like Tyler going that extra mile to get certified, flying out to California to be able to be one of the youngest certified technicians in his field, all the extra work he had to do to get to the position he was. So take a moment, think about that. Right now, what we're going to do is grab a note card, and I want you to think about what is privilege. What is that word to you? What is that definition of that word? What does it mean? Then think about who has it. So, who has it, maybe thinking about yourself or others, or just people in general. And then also we want to, the big goal we want to get at today in this area is, how do we use our privilege to help others? So like we've said, everyone's born into different challenges and advantages, but we can all use our advantages to help others that may be struggling in an area that we are successful in, or something that we may know more about, or merely just born into it and have been able to be successful in that area. So we want to think about those 3 questions. So take a minute, pause if you need to, really dive deep and understand what you want to get out of these 3 questions, understanding what they each mean, how they relate to you, and how you can better yourself and others through that.
Cool. So just an example, if you are struggling with writing down what your kind of ideas are, I'll just go through what my note card would say. So what is privilege? It is the opportunities that some are born with that others are not born with and privileged enough to have. Who has it? So honestly, anybody that has an opportunity more than another, that would be considered a privilege in my mind. So that's what I would write down. So honestly, anyone has the ability to have a privilege, but it depends on their life and what they were born into, and how do we use it. So for example, how would I use my privilege? A great example is allowing hunters and fishermen like Hunter to use my land, since I don't use it to hunt and fish. That would be an awesome way for me to use my privilege of being born into a family with farm and hunting land. That would be an awesome way for me to share that privilege with others and not keeping it all to myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man, just listening how you use your privilege to really give back, it really it helps me, inspire me to want to give back in the ways that I can, just because I know those individuals that haven't had that chance to be on a farm, that would really thrive just being able to have that couple of days to come out to your farm, Katie, and just be able to see the life that they may want to join one day or get into down the road. I think that's great. When I think about my note card, kind of based on a similar line, when I think of what is privilege, privilege is the opportunities that some are given, that others work through challenges and adversity that they have no fault of their own, that they were basically born into an area that put them at a disadvantage in a way. Then also, who has it? People that have the opportunities and advantages that others fight for. I think that's when you think about those privileges that you may have that someone may not. Thinking about what you may have already had that some others are reaching for, striving for, thinking about what you may not think of as an opportunity or an advantage. Some may be striving to get there. And then how do we use that privilege to help others? And I think this is, like I said, the biggest impact that we can have is right here. Always being willing to lend a hand, help those that are in need, and then speak up for those that can't speak for themselves. Those that may be afraid to ask for help, be afraid to ask to come see your property. But you may know that, through a friend or through your advisor, that they may need some help with an SAE. Being able to lend that hand and speak up for them that, maybe a little bit shy, may not be willing to step out of their comfort zone just yet. Maybe those freshmen and sophomores that have just gotten into FFA and they want to figure out, where their place is. Being able to reach down and pick them up with you is a great way to give back and lend your privilege to them to kind of help them be successful.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same challenge that we did with our stereotype papers. If you feel comfortable enough to take a picture of your privilege note card or paper or notebook, whatever you're writing on, and you want to share that to your social media using the hashtag #WeAreSCFFA, Hunter and I and all of your other FFA family would love to see that, see your ideas, especially during this time of uncertainty. And also, like, if you don't feel as comfortable with that, we also challenge you, if you have this in a notebook or on a sticky note, just maybe folding it up and keeping it in your FFA jacket pocket or keeping it in your book bag. So then when you are kind of feeling down or figuring out how you can be a servant to others, then you can just pull this out, take a look at it, remember the awesome privilege that you may have and how you can share that with others. This would be an awesome reminder, a daily reminder of how we can be keepers of the land. So back to the very beginning when we were talking about this keepers of the land thing, how do stereotypes and privileges kind of go along with keepers of the land?
And what if the land is what connects us all and brings us together?
What if the land, in these terms that we're talking about, what if the land is our community and how we're all connected through one community?
And how could you be a good keeper of the land?
We could be good keepers of the land by thinking about the stereotypes that have been placed on us, thinking about how they made us feel. And before making stereotypes about other people or groups of people, remembering those feelings and how we don't want to make anyone feel the way that stereotypes make us feel.
And we could be good keepers of the land by recognizing our privilege, understanding what we are so blessed with, understanding what we were born, the advantages we have been born with, the advantages that we go throughout life, maybe not thinking their advantages or opportunities, but understanding what those are, recognizing those, and using that to help others, whether it's that freshman that's coming into their first high school agricultural class, whether it's someone that you may hear is looking to venture into a world that you may know more about or have been blessed to have more experiences in, reaching down, bring them up, speaking for those that may not have a voice, giving back is the best way we can be keepers of the land in that sense.
Absolutely. And we truly thank you so much for tuning in to have these hard discussions with us. And we really challenge you to be good keepers of the land.
We hope that you took what we discussed today to heart and tend to the lives of others to be able to bring them up and help everyone succeed in your chapter and the entire National FFA organization.
Thanks so much, guys. And remember, we are SC FFA.
Thank you. Bye-bye.